Hello friends, welcome back to another video on this channel. In today's video, I will show you my new creation, a DIY steering wheel, and I will show you how you can make it as well. Now, if you guys are a long time viewer of my channel, you would have noticed I have a previous video of this steering wheel, not this one but a similar steering wheel as well. So that was actually not as good as this one. This is the upgraded version. So let me just show you about this around. So it obviously at the center of it is the Arduino Uno. As you can see here, this is the Arduino Uno, and we have the others. So this is just a potentiometer behind this little like pot thing I found. So this is from, like, I believe this is supposed to be under a plant. So this is just put onto a potentiometer in here. This is just on a stand. If I take this off, you can see better. So as you can see, this is just a simple potentiometer, 3-pin potentiometer connected to the Arduino. Now go ahead and put that back and tighten it up. So that connects to the Arduino, and that is the main steering wheel. As you can see closely, the tires move when we turn the steering wheel in the game. Here we have just a few buttons for connection who are also connected to the Arduino, and these are also buttons. So the pedals are actually also buttons. They are not potentiometers or any kind of like analog. However, you can make them analog if you prefer to by using simple slide potentiometers or even these spin ones, but that I don't know how you would make such a creation, but if you can figure it out, basically you just need a potentiometer. Now for the wiring, it's quite simple. So if I take this apart, oh yes, by the way, this accelerator is actually connected via spring here, so it gives feel so like a real car. So you just put the spring on like so, and when you press it, as you can see, it springs back. So it just goes presses the button here. If I take this phone off the stand here, just 1 second. As you can see, it presses the button here. When the the accelerator is pressed down, the rod presses the button and the car moves. See, this on the other hand is just sitting on a button. So this is not that fancy because I ran out of time and parts to make something like that. This is your handbrake. So this also has a button that is just pressed. So this is the spring loaded mechanism for pressing the button when this is pressed, and these are just 4 buttons on a breadboard. Now the way these are all connected is all of these, one side is connected to ground and the other side is connected to the rails of the Arduino Uno, sorry. So as you can see here, from pin number 2 to pin number 12 is all the pins that you can use for the buttons, as well as A5 and A4 on the analog side. These are all for your buttons, so you can have the number of buttons are supported, so that many buttons. In analog 0, 1 and 2 is for potentiometers, so 1 for the steering wheel and 2 for the pedals ideally. However, as I mentioned, I did not have time or resources to make such a creation, so I just am using buttons. Now as I mentioned a little bit about this before, so this is just a little spring loaded pedal type thing. So it has this long shaft, so when it is pressed, the button is pressed there. And this is if you look behind here, that's just a potentiometer which is connected onto this Lego like steering wheel frame thing, and it's just double-sided taped, and you do one of the Lego connector pieces, and it is then double-sided taped to this little like circular pot holding thing I found. Yeah, that's basically it for the creation. It's not that difficult to make. It's quite simple. Oh, if you are wondering how these are connected, this is ideally intended to be on the floor. However, just for demonstration purposes, I have it put up on here. So as you can see, there is two. So there is this thick wire and this small wire connecting. These are actually really long, so it can go on the floor. And yes, I have tested them out. These Lego creations do in fact work. Like with foot, you can use them with your feet. So this actually is for the grounding wire. As you can see, it connects here, so the black one actually goes and connects to the red one there. As you can see here, it's the same wire. Then it comes over here and into the breadboard rail here. Now the switches are directly connected to the breadboard for the reverse pedal. So as you can see, one end of it is connected there, and on the other end we have this white wire which is connected to one end of the wire on the black one, which is coming over here and it is connected to ground, the pins on the Arduino. Same with the other one. The other one is also connected to the wire inside the black one. So this is actually two wires in one like casing. So the second wire is coming over to this rail here, which is also fed with the ground from this the rail here. So this rail connects to the ground there, and then this is connecting to both the wires for this switch here. And then for this guy it's quite simple as well. It's just simple two pins, one for the ground and one into the Arduino there, connecting to the switch on the breadboard line there, and just one like using the spring loaded mechanism for the creation itself. And this is just a couple of pieces of Lego. The potentiometer, one side to ground, one side to voltage, and the other one is going into A0 if you see there. And yeah, that's basically it for the wiring diagram. It's quite simple for this. I'm not going to leave the wiring down in the description for this project, as it is really simple to do, and you can quite customize it as you like. But what I am going to do is now I'm going to go ahead and show you the software part of it. So let me quickly switch over to the computer now. Okay, so now I have switched over to the computer. Now once you go into the description, you will find a zip file download with these two files in it. So what you want to do is you want to download, first you want to install Flip using this installer here. Now I already have Flip installed, as you can see here. It's an Atmel program, so it is the same it's from the same people who made the microcontroller, like the actual chip for the Arduinos. This is just to make it easier for us to think like tell Windows, or rather trick Windows into seeing the Arduino as a joystick and not as a microcontroller. Once you have installed Flip, you want to go into this folder here. Now don't be alarmed by so many files. It's really not that difficult, quite simple. So what you want to do is you want to first go into UnoJoy Arduino sample folder and open this file here. This is actually the code that will be uploaded onto the Arduino. So once this loads, as you can see, this is the Arduino code. Now here, this is this is a little bit more difficult, but quite simple at the same time. It's a bit different from the others videos I usually make. So yeah, let me try and explain this a bit. So starting up here, we are including the UnoJoy library, which is here, which is locally defined, not in the libraries folder. This is in the same folder as the code itself. As you see here, this is the library. So we are just doing these two void things. We are just saying to do these void functions in void setup, and in loop we are just going to get the data and send the controller data. This is going to be handled in Arduino like the library here, but I'll explain that in just a second. So this is just setup pins. So this is for setting all the pins as outputs. As I mentioned, A4 and A5 are for the digital rails, the buttons as well, not for the analog output. That's why you have to mention them especially. The rest are all on. These are just the controllers. Normally you'd expect triangle, circle, square, cross and D-pad, as well as the triggers and starts and select and home. These are the regular buttons you'd expect on any regular controller. So they are being defined as Arduino pins. So this range from 2 to 12 and A4 and A5, as I mentioned. And these are the ones for the analogs, so for the steering wheel, and as well as for the if you have the analog pedal for the acceleration or the brakes, this is for that. Now if you are a long-term viewer as well, you might have noticed this is actually the same code we are running on the flight controller or the joystick I made before in one of my previous videos. So if you like this, you might want to check that out as well. It is running the same code, it's just slightly modified. I believe one part of it is changed to make it a little bit more easily usable, but this same code in fact works for that. I have tested that out. This is the joystick, the library which we are using. This just defines it more in detail and just tells the microcontroller that yes, when this is pressed, you are going to say that, say, right stick is when something is, when one of the buttons are pressed, you are going to say that select is pressed or home is pressed, or what, or like that for the other buttons. And here we are just mostly just saying to check things, and as beginning serial and checking whether outputs are there, and we are checking whether the pins are pressed, the analog sticks and all, and then last we are just returning the controller data for the microcontroller to process and send to Windows. This is for the Arduino code. You want to upload this directly from here, and once you have uploaded this, you want to go over back into this folder, and what you are going to do is now we are going to flash the BIOS on the Arduino. Don't worry, it is completely reversible process, it's nothing special. Let me show you first what you have to do. First we have to put it in the flash mode. For this I am going to show you how you can do that. So as you can see here on the Arduino, we have 6 pins here, these 6 pins. What you want to do is you want to short out the top 2 pins. Once you short out the top 2 pins, you will see here the microcontroller disconnect briefly and come back. Once you have done that, over here we have these two are what we want. Now mine is already as a joystick, so I'm just going to reflash it to be a microcontroller again, so I can show it to you exactly what is happening. So once you have done this reflash, you just want to unplug and replug the Arduino, which is exactly what I'm doing now. So as you can see, I have replugged the Arduino back in. You will hear the windows, there you go. And once you have done that, we can close this, and now the Arduino will actually show up in device manager as a real microcontroller and not as the joystick. So let me go ahead and open up device manager here as well as this. So as you can see here, now I only have my normal Xbox 360 controller which I use as a real controller, and over here we are only showing one. And if we see in ports, we can see the Arduino Uno there. However, if I go ahead and put it back into flash mode, I'm again going and touching the top 2 pins as I said. As you'll see in device manager, the Arduino goes ahead it disappears, and now I'll click on turn into a joystick. Once we have done that, we can click that and we are going to unplug and replug the Arduino. Once I have done that, if you notice, once device manager has refreshed, we can come over here and we'll see the Uno Joy joystick as well. Now since it's not an Xbox 360 peripheral, it's not showing in this. I believe it's going to show in either in I'm not sure where exactly it's going to show, but maybe here. I'm not sure where it shows in the device manager because it's not a USB it doesn't exactly have there it is. I believe it's supposed to be here, maybe no. Okay, anyways, I have no idea where it shows in device manager, but if we see here in game controllers, it shows up the Uno Joy joystick. So when we click this, as you can see, it has both the rotation Z and axis and Z axis rotation as well as X and Y axis here, and all the buttons. So when we press a button on the button pad, as you can see, it presses the button here. So the different buttons are set to different pins depending on what it is. It presses it on the microcontroller, so yeah, that's it. You have now successfully created an Arduino DIY steering wheel. If you want to turn it back as I did it before, just do this. Now make sure not to delete any of these files, which are useful files for this. This is what it bases its reflash on. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. You might also be interested in checking out some of my previous videos, which are also based on Arduinos, and you might also want to see the previous iteration of the DIY steering wheel, which I will put in the end card in the screen now. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.